So again, this is our 6th series on the homesteading, and this episode, home dairy and herd sharing. So Maria, thank you again for joining us. Maria's in Clay County at Meadow Branch Farms, LLC. We will also touch base a little bit later after the video and Q&A on some of the new WVDA dairy exemptions. And then we'll go into a little bit of our WVDA business development, and any further questions that anyone may have, we'll touch base at the end of the program. So with that, going to try to fumble through trying to get some of these screens back up here, and bear with me. We're going to start off this evening with some of Sierra's video from the consumer side of the standpoint, and Sierra is one of Maria's clients in her herd share. So we're going to hear a little bit for a few minutes on video from Sierra, and then we'll move into the portion where Maria breaks down some of the herd sharing.
Hello, my name is Sierra Cox, and I am a herd share member with Meadow Branch Farm. One of the reasons that I joined a herd share was traceability. I like knowing where my milk is coming from, especially with everything that's going on in the factory farm world. I was very concerned about the treatment of the animals and how they were being cared for, and I knew that they were being treated well with Maria. I highly recommend that if you want to join a herd share, that you go to the farm, you visit the farm, you see the milking process. It's eye-opening the amount of work that goes into running a dairy. I knew it was hard work, but actually being able to sit through the milking and everything that it goes into it, and knowing, watching the milk come from the animal to the bottle was a really awesome experience, and I really enjoyed meeting both the farmer and the animals that I'm getting the product from. So that was really cool. As far as joining the herd share, I think a lot of people are intimidated by the contract. I've had no issues at all. If anything comes up that I need to change things, I just being open and communicating with your farmer is really what's important. Letting them know, hey, I can't pick up this week, or I can't, something's come up and I can't pick up this day. I've found that the farmer is very flexible with you. They work with you. They want to get you your product. It's not, it's been a really good experience for me.
I'm Maria Moles, owner of Meadow Branch Farms, LLC in Beaumont, West Virginia. I'm also the founder and president of the West Virginia Raw Dairy Association and editor of the West Virginia Alliance for Raw Milk page on Facebook. My husband always wanted a Holstein, and I wanted a Jersey from the time I was a teenager. And when we married, he had beef cattle, and then we found his Holstein heifer, and she is still with us today. She's 11 years old. And then we come across a 23-month-old Jersey needing a new home, and he worked out a deal and brought her home for me. And she is also still with us, and she's 12 and a half years old. Both girls are in lactation now, and they're both doing really well. But both of these girls are high production cows, and we soon found that we had 20 gallons a day to work up, 10 from each girl. And there was nothing we could legally do. So we bought pigs, and we raised other people's calves. And I started looking into the law and seeing what we could do. herd share is when the farmer has a herd and you as a consumer buy a percentage interest in that herd and then pay a monthly fee for the care and upkeep. It's like a boarding fee, boarding your horse somewhere. You pay the farmer for the care and upkeep of that herd that you own a percentage interest in. It is not a way of buying milk. You're just paying the farmer to take care of the animals. And then in exchange, you are entitled to milk from your herd. So you got your animals, cows and or goats. Know your market. You know, what kind of demand is there for that type milk. And then you need to be very familiar with our state law, which is West Virginia Code 19-1-7. In that code, it lays out the three main things that you have to follow as a farmer. The first thing being you need to have your herd tested yearly for TB and brucellosis. And any new animals coming into the herd need to be tested clean for those diseases within the 30 days prior of being added to your herd. The second thing is you need to have specific wording in your contract. I highly recommend having an attorney draw that up for you. I did, and I have never regretted it. It's been one of the best decisions I've made. And the third thing is you need to file copies of every signed contract with the Agriculture Commissioner's office. And, you know, that's just kind of insurance type thing. If somebody gets sick, the Commissioner's office can notify others. You know, we can check into it and follow up. So my herd has now grown so that I have a bull, 7 cows, and 2 heifer calves. And I have now 12 alpine does and 2 bucks. So I'm actually sharing cow and goat milk. There's not the demand for goat milk here that there is for cow, but you know, with allergies in my own home, it's definitely worth it for us to have the goat milk as well as the cow. And then I'm finding other people who are finding that, you know, they do better with the goat milk as well. But again, you know, that's where you need to know your market going into it. I thought there's a higher market than what there is, and there, you know, it's trial and error. You're going to learn as you go. A lot of people that contact me and they say, well, how do I order? It's not a matter of ordering. You have to actually buy into the share, sign a contract, and become, you know, the legal owner of percentage interest. And then, you know, we go from there. One of the biggest things was the insurance problem. You know, the insurance is not required by our state law. However, I was advised by an attorney and legislator to get liability insurance. So when I went looking for it, I soon found that that's very hard to get. And when I called my insurance company at the time to ask about buying it, they told me, well, they didn't sell it. And if I didn't have it within 30 days, then they were going to drop me. There's only one company who will insure me in this state. The second lesson was, you know, make sure that you have all your animals tested before you get them if possible. If not, I mean, you could have some surprises afterwards and then have to decide, oh, what do I do with these animals now? And I'm not talking about TB and brucellosis so much, although it's good to have those done first. But even like the other things that you can test for, like yonis and, well, with your goats, CAE and CL. You want to make sure that they're free of any diseases that are transmissible to people. Another big one that I was not prepared for was the roller coaster ride. You know, you've got all these customers this month, and oh, you're losing them the next month. I've had people get milk one week and say, okay, this is not for me. I want bought out. We use more expensive dairy detergents, but it is definitely worth it. The milk is lasting so much longer and has a better flavor. You're on the schedule. The farmer's going to do their best to have your milk ready on the date and time that you both agree on. If you have any reason you need to change it, let the farmer know as soon as possible. Don't wait till the day of pickup, because by that time your milk has already been bottled and is chilled and ready for pickup. It might be a day that your farmer just doesn't have your milk, and you know, it guts us when we can't fill that order. So just try to be patient with us, because you know, like my boys and I, we're working 8-9 hours a day. My older boy's actually going to work off the farm now, so it's me and a 16-year-old trying to milk all these cows and goats. And one of the big issues is the insurance. People finding out, oh, I can't do this and keep my insurance. Another thing is testing is a bit expensive. It's worth it. I mean, I highly recommend the testing. I wouldn't advise trying to get out of it. Because really, if you're drinking that milk yourself, you need to know, it is free. I'm not going to get these diseases. But the testing is expensive. I mean, and especially up front, when you're paying for that contract and you're paying for that testing and you're getting everything set up to go. I mean, that's really pricey. But after that, work it out. Make sure that you've set your monthly fees at a rate that people can afford, but that you're not starving the animals on.
Right.
Because remember, that fee is going to not only feed the animals, but also pay for that vet bill. And then, emergencies come up, and if you're not able to pay that, it's really going to hurt you. On my farm, you pay $20 to buy in for one share, for a cow share. And then you pay $26 a month boarding. Okay, and for that price, you are entitled to 1 gallon of milk a week per share. I have had people buy as little as a quarter share, and I've had one family, but they bought as much as 12 shares. Price to buy in for a goat share is $30, and the monthly fee for a goat share is $43.33. That averages out to $10 a gallon. If I do churn butter. And like I said, I do the cream, but I've also made some soft cheeses and yogurts and such, and I distribute those to my shareholders only. Like raw milk cheese has to be aged a minimum of 60 days before it can be sold, and we are able to sell up to 5,000 pounds of raw milk aged cheese a year.
Wow.
So that's something I would like to get into, but I just don't have the time.
Right. No, that's a commitment.
Well, I mean, with the hard cheese, I mean, you could make it and set it aside to age and all that, and then you got a product later in the winter when other sales might be low or production's low, whatever. You've got something else that you can sell to the public. Just it's a nice extra.
Right.
Because, I mean, if you're just depending on whole fluid milk going out through your shares, you're going to struggle. I learned that the hard way. So you have to look at doing your value added for your shareholders as well. Not everybody has the time to make butter. Not everybody knows how or is willing to make cheese. So if you can make those value added things, they will gladly compensate you a fair price. And I mean, it could be the difference between dumping 5 gallons of milk in a day and turning around and, bringing more money in from a shareholder, I'm always willing to help however I can. People can just email me at West Virginia Raw Dairy Association email, and or contact me through Facebook, and I'll do anything and everything I can to help somebody get going. The need is great. It's more than what just a few people can do. Like I said, I had wanted to do just a couple cows, and now I've got 5 cows in milk, 2 more due to freshen. I've dried 2 goats off, and I've got 6 still in milk, and we are moving somewhere around 60 gallons of milk and cream and buttermilk and all that out every week. Plus there's the butter, and people are requesting more and more all the time.
Wow.
So, I mean, this has grown to be much bigger than I ever anticipated. I've got people coming from Mason County. I've had people coming from Cabell County, Wayne County. I've got them in, Oak Hill. And,
that's a drive.
They're coming from all over. As part of why I kind of gave myself the nickname West Virginia's Milkmaid, because that's how I felt. I was distributing milk into 7 or 8 counties, and people were driving a long ways to get to me, and so kind of felt like I was milking for the state.
Definitely, no.
But,
So, you mentioned the West Virginia Milkmaid. So, what are some different ways that people could reach out to you if they had more questions?
On Twitter as West Virginia Milkmaid.
Okay.
Or you can reach me on Facebook through Meadow Branch Farms LLC, or the West Virginia Alliance for Raw Milk, or the West Virginia Raw Dairy Association Facebook pages. You could also reach me at the Raw Dairy Association's email, which is wvrawdairyassociation@gmail.com.
Okay.
Those are the best ways to reach me, and I'll get back to whoever as soon as I can.
Mm-hmm.
But it might not be immediate.
Right. You have a working farm that you need to deal with, because besides the goats and the cows, what other things do you do here at Meadow Branch Farm?
Well, we have horses, we have a donkey, we have close to 40 chickens. We do sell eggs.
Okay.
And I don't even know how many ducks we have, because all of our poultry is free ranging. But again, with the ducks, we sell eggs, and we do process and sell the meat on occasion. As we have it, we also sell beef, and we've got some pigs, so we sell pastured pork, and well, we've got over 100 animals, and I also have 2 teenage boys and going into 11th and 12th grade. It's very fulfilling when you look into somebody's face and they tell you just how good that milk is. Or one thing that got me was I had a teenage boy. He's autistic, and he's got some other challenges, and he told me, he said, Maria, I really like that milk. That's good country milk.
Oh,
and
awesome.
You can't put a price on that.
Mm-mm.
That came from that boy's heart. And then another day, his little sister, she pulled her beads out from where she was riding in their vehicle, and she comes over and she says, here, Maria. And she said they're purple beads or something like that, and I still have them there in my Explorer to remind me why I'm doing this, because their sister and father are lactose intolerant, and they cannot tolerate any pasteurized dairy whatsoever, and they could have all the milk, and she could have all the milk she wanted, her dad could too, from this farm. And so just knowing that there was a young girl getting what she needed, and even her siblings were appreciative, you can't put a price on that. And then I've had other people tell me, I was struggling. I had this going on or that going on, and I got your milk, and that went away.
Mm-hmm.
So I have no idea what happened, what changed, but they could tell a difference. And I've had some others say, well, I don't need much. We just don't really use milk at our house, so I just want to get a gallon. And this happened in December. And next thing I know, she's like, oh my goodness, Maria, she said, I don't know what's in that milk. She says, I crave milk now. And she said, I don't have enough to do anything with it. I need to buy another share. And so she's up to getting 2 shares of milk and a 1/4 share of cream every week. And she tells me that, sometimes she just needs another gallon.
Mm-hmm. Oh my
because she's
goodness.
making cheese or something else.
Right.
And she told a coworker about me. And that lady contacted me. She said, well, I'm a widow. I don't use much at all, so I just want a 1/4 share. She got her first delivery on Tuesday. On Friday, she was asking to bump to 1/2 gallon. And now she's asking to bump to a gallon.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And it's because she's discovered how to make her own cheese and yogurt and stuff like that. She still wants me to make butter for her, but still,
Mm-hmm.
And then, it starts with one person. And I've got a nurse that's getting goat milk from me. And the babysitter come over and saw that, and it's like, hey, I want some of that. Where do you get your milk? And so the nurse told the babysitter, now I've got both of them on my shares list. And then I had a lady, she got milk for a while and cream, and then she's like, well, Maria, I'm going to start my own herd share. And so I'm leaving. I said, okay. And she had a herd of goats, and things didn't go as well with her goats as what she anticipated. And she said, Marie, can I come back? I said, well, absolutely. She's now getting 4 gallons every week.
Wow.
and she's churning her own butter, and I don't know what all she's doing with all that milk, but she's enjoyed it so much that she told her sister, this lady's in Boone County, and she drives to Charleston every week to get her milk. So she enjoyed it so much, she told her sister in Oak Hill, who is now driving to Charleston to get milk every week, milk and eggs. Both of them are getting eggs as well as milk.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, it's just, people are getting the word of it, and they're telling somebody else, I had another lady, she gets milk every Tuesday, and she was telling a lady in the homeschool group about me. And I got her as a customer, and I mean, it just, word of mouth, it builds, and I've had to advertise some. But most of what I have and the people came word of mouth, and you know, they come, they go, but you know, it's always interesting learning their different ways, answering their questions. You know, I even have to be considerate of different religions, which I had never considered before. You know, well, it's their religious holiday; they have to fast, and so that limits their intake that week. Or somebody's got a question, okay, what is in the milk? What's in the feed that you give them, you know, to produce the milk? And we have to make sure that that is in line with their dietary restrictions. Or I even had one lady say, well, okay, do you use your milking equipment for anything else, like butchering or whatever? And no, this is dedicated only. And, you know, she's learning the different ideas that, you know, questions and different misconceptions. It's helped me a lot as a farmer, just, you know, hearing their thought process, and then having to go find answers for them if I didn't already know it, and then come back to answer their questions. It's helped me grow a lot. Definitely.
And I guess, do you have any recommendations if somebody is interested? Because, you know, you've mentioned a lot of people the benefits of raw milk. Is there a resource that you would recommend for someone to look into to see if raw milk might benefit them?
You can look online. There's all kinds of information online, different places about the benefits, and, you know, people making different claims as to what it can help and what it can hurt. All I can do is I can say, based on personal experience, what has worked for us. So, Chloe, that's enough.
But I'm really excited.
That's enough. Hey! Chloe, go lay down.
Am I getting them sassy?
But all we can do is go by personal experience. So talk to your farmer. They're going to know, you know, they're going to hear the stories from other people. They're going to know what it did for them. So if the farmer's not drinking their own milk, you got a problem. So know what that farmer's experience is with the milk. My husband and I are both allergic to cow's milk, but our boys drink the cow's milk. And my husband and I drink the goat's milk, or I don't drink it anymore, but I haven't been able to drink milk since I was 12 or so because of my reaction to it. So even with goat milk, I don't drink it, but I use it on cereal, making cheese, yogurt, and other stuff. So, you know, it's opened things up again for me to have dairy. So, you know, talk to your farmer. Chloe, that's enough. I didn't ask you.
She wanted to put her 2 cents in too.
But yeah, just personal experience.
Okay.
I mean, you can read books on it. There's all kinds of...
I just have to get the last word in. It's a farm.
There's all kinds of information out there. Just be careful, weed through it, and always talk to somebody who's done it. Because one person's experience is not the same as another's. And what you read online might not be true. I know I've seen some really scary information online. And please do not go by what's on Pinterest.
Oh my gosh.
I did. I had a lady following recipes on Pinterest set her milk out for days and wondered why it didn't turn into whatever product she thought it was supposed to. And I said, oh no, as your farmer, please, I beg you, dump that milk out, and next time you want to make a product, use a culture, and if you need help finding one, I'll help you.
Yes.
So, Anyhow, be careful what source you depend on. There are good ones out there, but weed through everything carefully.
Definitely. I think that's huge. I guess one more thing to kind of, because you have a separate milking room, an area that you use to, milk the cows, and then a separate commercial refrigerator that you store the milk in.
Right.
Is that a requirement for someone, or?
It's not a requirement, but it's a very good idea. In fact, I have plans to upgrade my facilities. We're wanting to add windows. We're going to run more water and electricity so that I can separate, and have a dedicated milking parlor only, have another room where, we wash up and, store the milk and all that. And if I can get bulk tanks, I'm really looking into getting at least one bulk tank to store and chill my milk faster. And then have another room for bottling and processing, just, to increase the cleanliness. I can keep my milk clean as it is, but it's more of a struggle. So if I could separate it out, I highly recommend if you could just separate it out and have this room for this room for this, just to keep it clean. And then always, keep your hands clean, wear gloves. I didn't like that idea at first, but when I consulted an environmental health inspector, he said you really should be wearing gloves because raw milk is a ready-to-eat food. And I'm like, what? I'm not sure I could feel the udder, what I need in the udder, and I actually can. And I found that I prefer to wear the gloves. And then, it's great for when you're bottling. Make sure your hair is covered or put up. Ideally, you would have it covered even if it is put up. I've not found anything to stay in place, and I end up fooling with my hair with gloved hands. So, often I just don't cover my hair. I make sure it's pinned up. Ponytail or whatever is not good enough. You need it like wound up, braided up. Otherwise, you could end up with hair in your milk or in your equipment, and that's just not okay. So, pay attention. Make sure that you're being as clean as possible in whatever facilities you have. And then always look to see how you can better yourself. And, as you do that, I think you'll find you have a better product and you'll be happier. And your customers will be too.
Definitely.
So thank you, Maria. That was fabulous. And I love the fact that we've got dogs barking in the background and goats walking astray in the background. It's real. It's real. So let's check the chat box here and see if we've got any questions. I'm not really able to see the chat box too awful well when I'm sharing screen. So does anyone have any questions for Maria as I scan through and see if we have any? Okay, I don't see any in the chat box. No questions? See, they saw your nervousness at the beginning. They're scared to even ask you a question now.
I don't have a question because I think that was so unbelievably informative, and I thank you for that. I think a lot of people don't understand herd shares, and you just did a really good job explaining it to us.
Thank you.
So I've got a question that I asked last week, and I don't believe you were with us last week, Maria, but a lot of what we practice here in the Eastern Panhandle, from farmer to farmer to collaboration, is learning and what not to do. It goes a long way with our learning. And do you have anything on herd sharing or goat/milk dairy backyard on what not to do? That's my question.
There would be a very long list on that if I had much time to think about it.
Just one.
Just one. Using the wrong detergents to clean your equipment. That's a major no-no. If you don't use the proper detergents, your milk will not stay good for as long as it should, and it makes a major difference.
Very good. Thank you. We do have a question from Michelle. Is there a herd share farm in Kanawha County that you're aware of?
There is not that I'm aware of. I've talked to some people who want to get into it, but the insurance and the upfront costs, they just tell me it's too much and back off. So right now I'm handling just about anybody in Kanawha County that's been interested. They end up getting milk from my farm.
Very good. And I apologize. I see you answered that question as I was reading it.
That's fine.
Another question from Lacey. What's the best breed of milk cow to get started with backyard small scale producer?
For small scale, I'm only familiar with full size dairy cattle. So I would have to say Jersey on that one. But not all Jerseys are low producers. Like I said in the video, my first Jersey was giving me 10 gallons a day, her first lactation, and that was out of 3/4 because I lost 1/4 to mastitis. So, it just depends on the cow, depends on the area you have as to which breed would be the best.
Thank you. And a follow up to that, and how do you know you're buying a good cow?
Take someone with you who has a little bit of knowledge about cattle. That would help. We just kind of jumped into it blindly. I did have a dairy farmer to help me out, at least with the Holsteins. But there are also books out there that talk about what to look for in a dairy cow. Like you don't want the really big udders, you want smaller ones that are higher up against their belly. My first Jersey, she has a really long udder, and that's caused an issue for her because she had stepped on her teats and all of that as she is trying to get up, and it's caused problems with mastitis. So you want to make sure you have the smaller udders up higher. And then, just look for good confirmation, age, find out all the history. That would go a long way to letting you know what kind of quality that cow is.
And a question from Dane. Who was the one company you were able to get insured by in the state of West Virginia?
Well, I think that if message me and I'll send you the information on that. I think they're having some issues getting other people insured. I may have been grandfathered in on that. So let me double check with the insurance company, and you can message me and I'll pass that along to you.
Very good. Thank you. And another question from Dane. Do you have any reference materials / guides recommended for beginning?
I don't have them handy, but there are some simple books. I can send those titles along as well. I don't have them laying right here to give the titles. Just really what I found in talking to a farmer is a lot more worth your while than reading books in a lot of ways. And I'm a bookworm, so you need a bit of both. But I can pass along my favorite books. Just shoot me an email and I'll send those to you.
Very good. Thank you. And I believe I haven't got a chance to speak with you yet, Maria, and I apologize, but I believe that we've decided to go a little bit more extensive with Maria in the learning experience and do some more videos that we will be placing on our YouTube channel. So please, maybe we can include some of those references and guides in the more extensive, in-depth that we plan to do here in the near future. And we'll keep you posted on those, send out emails. and once we get those completed. But we're going to do a little bit more deeper dive with Maria on herd sharing and backyard milk production. So maybe that's something that we can include in some of those. With that being said, any more questions for Maria? And if not, we will move on to a little bit about the new dairy exemption in the state of West Virginia. And if you do have any questions, please continue to put them in the chat box and we will take those at the very end. But with that, I have asked Ms. Kacey Gantzer, who is our planning coordinator in the Northern Panhandle, to say a little bit about the new dairy exemption in the state of West Virginia. And if I can get my screens back up here that I fumbled through to begin with. Ms. Gantzer, would you like to talk a little bit about the dairy exemption, please?
Sure. And if anybody has any more questions after I'm done, Rachel Shockey is our program coordinator for dairy. She wasn't able to join us tonight, but we can connect you to her to get you more details on inspections or just really the bill itself. So some exciting developments here in West Virginia this year. At the end of April, the West Virginia Exempt Dairy Farm and Milk Bill passed and is now a legislative rule. What does this mean for dairy in West Virginia? Well, it means now we have an option to sell fluid milk and milk products within the state. These things cannot be sold out of state without any USDA or federal regulation. It will be 100% inspected by the West Virginia Department of Agriculture. Some exciting things to add to this is these are items that you can make on farm versus a processing facility, much like what Maria is doing. These items include butters, cheeses, yogurts, ice cream, and fluid milk. You can sterilize jars and reuse jars, like maybe your customers bring back mason jars. That could be allowed under this program. Also, hand milking is allowed. Milk that's sold outside of the state cannot be hand milked and follows a lot of different rules. This is an exemption to sell these products. Maybe you only have 1 or 2 goats and you're looking to sell some cheese or some milk. You can do that without purchasing milking equipment. This is an all new law. I don't know if we have any micro dairies that are up and running yet, but we, the planning coordinators, and Rachel and our regulatory department are more than willing to help you start looking into it, getting some plans together. But this is a pretty exciting development for small producers in West Virginia. Does anyone have any questions? I don't have a lot of details, but I will try to answer anything. We're really hoping this encourages more dairy producers. Just like the herd shares, this is an opportunity for maybe not a traditional farm to get into the dairy business. And this allows you to also sell to farmers markets, retail locations, anything as long as it's within the state of West Virginia.
Thank you, Kacey. Any questions on the dairy exemption for Kacey Gantzer?
Do we have Rachel's contact info on the next slide, Nathan? There we go. There's your answer, Jennifer.
Jennifer, there you go. That Rachel is our dairy program manager, who has been, correct me if I'm wrong, Kacey, but she's been in that position for about, what, 6 months now?
I think she started in the fall or the winter, yeah.
So if you have further questions on the exemption, please reach out to Rachel and she should be able to answer any and all questions that you have on that. And also, obviously, we've got Maria's email here if you want to jot that down. Obviously, Maria is, in her extensive knowledge of herd sharing, and is open to reach out to take any questions you may have on that as well. Here's a little bit about our West Virginia Grown program. This program is somewhat of a marketing tool. To be able to put a label on your product saying that it came from West Virginia, it's produced in West Virginia, And this is also a quick preview of the new West Virginia Grown directory that we're piecing together as we speak. It has obviously pictures of product, the family, the contact information, websites, any and all things of our West Virginia Grown members to be able to reach out to them, to be able to source product. And it also tells what I love about the thing the most is a little bit of the backstory on each farm, which I feel that we sometimes don't do enough of. But it gives a short background of the story of each farm, which makes it extremely nice. Next up, our Veterans and Heroes to Agriculture, which I stumbled through last week saying, but didn't do too awful bad this week. We do have Dane with us. Dane, do you want to say anything on our Veterans and Heroes to Agriculture program if you're still here? And I hate to put you on the spot, buddy, but is there anything that you would like to mention on it?
Let's see, can you hear me all right there?
Yeah, absolutely, buddy.
Yeah, I had to swap out of my dual monitors here. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll just take a quick second here. So, yeah, veterans, Gold Star families, dependents of veterans, you're all welcome to join. And we recently opened up to so first responders, law enforcement, firefighters, emergency services personnel. We're here to help support you and find the resources you need. So, feel free to contact us at any time. We're going to be hosting some training of our own here in the coming months. We're starting beekeeping Thursday, so be on the lookout for some of those things. If you're interested in more training, but I'll just kind of leave it at that. I won't drag it out too long.
I appreciate it, buddy. Sorry to put you on the spot there, but that was very helpful.
No worries.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And here we are. This is our planning coordinator, MAP. Mary Dickerson is the assistant director of the business development division and has our Veterans and Warriors to Agriculture and also the planning coordinators. I'm Nathan Bergdoll, Eastern Panhandle in the blue. You just heard from Kacey Gantzer in the orange up north. We also have Lacey Davidson, who popped a few questions there in the southwestern part of the state in the green. And we just added Ashley Amos in the southwestern in the purple region. So if you're in those regions and can read our emails on this slide, please reach out. If you can't read the emails, we do have contact number over here in the left-hand corner of the screen. 304-558-2210 is our main line in Charleston, and Miss Connie will direct you to one of us and be in contact, and we'll reach out and hopefully get answers to your question, especially if you're not in one of our regions. If you're in the central part of the state where one of us is not really centrally located, please reach out and we'll try to best fit your needs with what we know to be we all specialize in different things is what I'm trying to get out. And if we can specialize in what your question is asking, then we'll try to get you answers. And with that being said, here's our final screen of the night. Next week for homesteading, week 7, we'll have farm tool use and maintenance. Again, Tuesday, 6 o'clock. And as I drop this screen down, does anybody have any remaining questions for Maria or Sierra on the consumer side of things, for Kacey on the new dairy exemption, or anyone else for that matter? No questions? Well, with that, thank you for joining us, and I hope you will join us next week for farm tool use and maintenance. And again, I appreciate it to Sierra for going out and videoing not only herself, but taking the time to video with Maria that day. And also, thank you, Maria, for taking the time out, and look forward to working with you further. I've learned more about herd sharing over the last week and a half with setting this up with you than I had any time before that. So thank you all for joining us, and hope to see you again next week. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.